Anthony, is it Tuesday? Is it Monday? I don't know what's going on. How are you today?
Well, it's a day after the weekend because all I heard you in the green room was complaining about the weather.
Yeah, well, that sounds about right. What do you think?
Oh my God, that was quick. What was that? Do that again.
Last week, I said off air. I said, "Hey, we got to change up the beginning credits, make it really short."
Yeah, but you changed it without asking me. In my opinion.
But I figured I'd ask for forgiveness. I can change if you don't like it. All right,
I don't like it, but okay, right. Whatever.
We'll figure it out. I wanted to have something to go, and I didn't want 19 seconds going on forever. So give me some ideas later.
The different music. I think it's fine, but that music is jarring.
A little too much. Because I was trying to stay away from corporate-y. Hey, why don't you guys let me know what kind of music you think best tells you the tone and tenor of this particular program?
I think the what do you call it? The kind of rhythm we have in the first one, I think is fine. Yeah. I think it's too I don't know what that is, especially if I'm listening to it on my headphones.
Yeah. All right. Maybe I could grab 2 seconds of that. I don't know. I'm not an editor. I'm not a creator in that kind of a sense, but I am a champion weather complainer. But one guy who's got great weather, of course, I'm talking about Julian Tucker. Welcome to No Vacancy, not so live today. General manager at Andaz West Hollywood. How are you, man?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Doing absolutely fantastic. So you're out there. You got that great weather in Southern California, which is absolutely fantastic. And it's so exciting that you're the GM now of Andaz West Hollywood. Anthony, I know you wanted to ask the first question today, so go for it.
Well, I want to know a little bit about how you got into business, and then I wanted you to explain the brand, because unless you know the brand well, you don't really know what it is. You know, I didn't think it was a brand within a brand. I thought it was something else, and then I'm learning. So first start out with how'd you get into business?
Yeah, thanks for having me on again, gentlemen. Business, for me, starting out in hospitality businesses, I tell people I fell into it. I was going to school on overnight, working third shift security, and going to school for political science. Thought I wanted to get into politics, and it was really a couple of years later.
Hey, to be fair, Julian, you're GM. That's a lot of politics.
Yeah, a lot of politics. I use it every day. Trust me.
Yeah.
but let's back up for a second. So you were third shift security, and what kind of hotels? Fancy hotels?
It was the Hyatt Regency Milwaukee.
Oh, he should have named the hotel, because now I can't ask you the next question.
how
many ladies of the evenings or gentlemen of the evenings did you have to escort out of the building?
And I am sorry for putting you in that position time and time again. I was making good money, you know.
Actually, a lot, but at the time, my food and beverage director, he would get mad because I would kick him out of the bar, and he says I was messing with his customers. So a lot of them.
Yeah, in New York City, the first thing I learned was how to set up security policies so the ladies of the evenings couldn't get in. And basically what we would ask them to do is after 12 o'clock, we'd ask them to sign into the Red Book, and then we'd ask the gentleman in the room to come down and sign them in. 90% of the time, and 90% of the time, they never came down. And I won't tell you the details, but I'll just tell you somebody very, very famous was very lucky to have me as director of being night manager, because in the morning at 7 a.m. on Sunday, his family surprised him. about 4 o'clock in the morning on Saturday.
Oh my God!
I prevented somebody from going in, and I'll tell you off air who it was.
Right? Wow. So this is what makes general managers the real heroes of hospitality, looking out for their guests and looking out for the safety of everyone, right, Julian?
Absolutely. That's what we do.
Yeah, you know, and this is weird, but there's actually a predetermined talking point that we had over here for the show. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Over there. All right. So, Julian, so you're at the Andaz West Hollywood. And again, I think Anthony was interested in learning a little bit more. What is the essence of that brand? And how does that maybe differ from some of the other types of Hyatt-related properties you've worked at? We got to get into the fact that you've worked at the same company for all these decades as well.
Yeah.
We'll get there in a minute. Yeah.
I know I'm an anomaly in that point, but so Andaz was really born. It was our first venture into lifestyle properties for
about 15 years. going back now? Yeah.
This particular property was the first one in the U.S. And
it was. Was it Wall Street like number 2 or 3 then?
Wall Street was 2 or 3, and then Andaz fifth came shortly after that.
Yeah.
But it really was born out of a need to kind of meet customers where they are, and Andaz actually means personal style in Hindi.
Mm-hmm.
And really, the essence of the brand is to connect you to the community where you are. And you'll notice if you've ever been in an Andaz, it's very connected to where it is. It's all about bringing the outside in. Our property is all about music and art and the history that all goes along with that. And instead of shying away from that, make that a part of the experience.
And now I want to point out that, again, you were in there 15 years ago with this particular brand. Now these things seem to be entry stakes for a lot of new hotels, but it's pretty radical and different when this idea came around.
Exactly. So it's all about freedom of expression. We want you to feel as though, and when you're in Hollywood, everything's about being a rock star.
Yeah.
When you check in here, we want you to feel like you are in West Hollywood, and you might run into a famous celebrity in the lobby or walking down the street. So we want to make sure that we create that experience for people that really makes them feel special from an experiential standpoint.
And that's where kind of like West Hollywood's kind of like the Lower East Side of New York. A lot of bands started, in those, bars passing the bucket around for cash. And there's some famous venues right where your hotel is. And the history there is insane.
Yeah, it's incredible. You have the Whiskey A Go-Go right up the street, the Rainbow Room, the Troubadour, all of these iconic places where some of your most famous rock bands got their starts.
How far are you from the Hollywood Bowl?
Just about 2 miles.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Over 2 miles. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So you're really in that whole hub of all of that, and the property carries through that kind of vibe, I'm sure. So how did you land at this particular property? But I guess a place to go, let's go back a little bit. 25 years with Hyatt-ish, right? That's pretty amazing stuff. You started as a security individual. What was that experience like, and how did that catapult you into your next steps, which eventually took you onto GM positions?
Well, it really kind of, I call it my basis point, is really where I learned the most about business. I had the most experiences. I saw the most unbelievably crazy things. And it really was kind of my starting point. And it was where I started to really learn the business. When you're working overnight, you kind of need to know a little bit about everything. You need to know a little bit about the POS system and food and beverage. You need to know about the front office system. You need to know a little bit about all these things. And
you need to know how to evacuate people when the fire alarm goes off at 3 o'clock.
On the fire alarm, all of these things. You really you need to be ready to deal with any situation in a guest room, domestically, or all of the things that you would think. Third shift is where a lot of these things happen.
How many night auditors did you have to wake up?
I've had to hit a couple on the shoulder every now and then.
I remember when I was at the Plaza Hotel, there was a security zone. Remember these big printers and stuff? So where the night orders were, it was like you weren't allowed in. Well, I got the keys, I got in, and there was a night order sleeping on you remember that air floor they used to put on the big computers? So there was this air floor they had, and he was sleeping on the air floor because it was cool. And I took a Polaroid picture of him and just put it on his chest and put a little note saying, "See Human Resources in the morning."
Oh my goodness.
That's savage, Anthony.
That's excellent. So go on, Julian.
So that's where I really started to learn the business. And, once a couple of years in, once I really decided that this is what I want to do, I feel like I had a leg up because I knew a lot of things already. And once I got into my next position, which was kind of a overnight manager on duty position, which is really something that'll change your life. Doing that position is really, really, really something. I could write a book on it.
You should.
But that's really why I started to hone my management skills and really started to formulate my leadership style. And it just kind of propelled me. And before you knew it, I was off doing all the other positions, getting myself ready for an executive leadership position.
Yeah, it's very normal for a director of security or a night manager security guy to become a general manager. And I love to see that. And I'm so happy to see that you really push through. And you're right, night manager. I was night manager for several years, and we can write 10 books together.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, honestly, I've heard a lot of good stories, and I feel like a book needs to. Maybe I could be the conduit. Everyone can tell me their story secretly, and then we could publish it all, together.
You know what? We can do a book called Tuesdays with Glenn instead of Tuesdays with Maury.
I'm here for it.
That's hysterical. So, all right. So, Julian, you bounced around. You're in Long Beach, Huntington Beach, California, Denver. You were off in the Caribbean and stuff. What's the difference between managing hotels or working at hotels in places like California versus Florida versus the Caribbean? Now, the people in the Caribbean seem to approach life in a very different way. Us like New Yorkers here, Anthony and I are like, go, 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 go. Caribbean's much more laid back and casual. It will get done, right? So what's the differences in dealing with these teams?
Maybe.
You're right. Right.
There's a famous phrase in Trinidad that all of the Trinidadians saying. It says, "I'll be there just now," and that could mean 5 minutes or 5 hours. Yeah. Just kind of depends on when it wants to happen. But I think probably the biggest thing I learned, and I'll tell you this, like it really helped me understand different cultures and how different cultures respond to work in general. Me growing up in this business, working in the U.S., we had that very same mentality. Everything's go, 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 go. You have to learn to take a step back and just approach the situation and people where they are and understand that they don't live their life to work. They work because that's what they have to do.
It must be difficult. I'm sorry. It must be difficult as a general manager. If you're running a bank or you're running a grocery store and the people behind the counter and the people in front of the counter are the same people because they grew up in the same community, same country. But when you're working with people that have a step back, but you're working with tourists like myself and other people who come from different countries that go, 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 that must be a big challenge for you as a general manager.
I think it was, and it was a big learning point for me to be able to really, truly understand how to manage and how to lead a team that just has a different philosophy and a different mindset when it comes to work. But when I say that it really, really shaped me and helped me understand different cultures, and it served me very well when I moved back here as well.
Yeah, it's going to be my next question, because when you're dealing with that, when you're dealing with a culture that is more work-centric, then it's got to be a lot easier for you than it would have been. If nothing else, at least psychologically, whatever comes up, you're like, oh, this is easier.
Absolutely. And it teaches you, you know what, sometimes it's okay to slow down a little bit and understand and meet people where they are. And not everybody's the same. You have to treat everybody from their own personal experiences, Do
you remember the first time where you were really frustrated and people were just moving your speed? And was it a learning lesson where you were put in your place maybe by the employees, or was it just a moment where you caught yourself and said, all right, I'm going about this the wrong way?
It was the latter. And yes, I have several examples, but probably the biggest one I have is dealing with vendors and dealing with contractors on the islands. You want to talk about a different experience when people working at their own speed. We were redoing our pool at the Hyatt Regency Trinidad, and I paid these people a lot of money to do it. And
there's a sense of urgency to get this done.
This days they wouldn't show up, just would not come to work at all.
Wow.
And you have to learn that's sometimes you have to deal with that, and you have to approach that in a manner that's still respectful and still understand where that is something that you have to learn how to deal with when you're working in the islands. Definitely.
Wow. So how did that situation resolve itself, and what did you have to do in order to make sure that people were swimming again at your property?
Eventually, the company got their act together. And it did take a little bit of prodding on my part, my director of engineering, but
holding back money usually works.
That works great.
That's hysterical. Too funny. So, Julian, if you have an email client open, if you could close that, that'd be great. And while you're doing that, my next question for you is, What is the market like right now in Southern California, West Hollywood, Hollywood? Are you feeling pretty good about it? What are you expecting for the next few months? All that kind of good stuff.
It's a great question, and I whenever I'm asked this question, I always say you feel like LA is back, and when I say that, it's the first year that we've had all the award shows back and live, right. All the events that go along with that makes Hollywood, right? When you think of the Grammys, all of the shows that come along with that. They were all back this year, all very well attended. Yeah. All the events with the stars and the after parties were all back. So it was great to see that kind of liveliness back into LA again for the first time.
Are you seeing business come back, like corporate business?
Yeah, our business travel, corporate business travel has been very strong. It's nearing, not quite there yet, but it's nearing 2019 numbers in terms of occupancy rates. One of the things we are seeing is that the rates that we enjoyed last year and the year before are starting to flatten a little bit. We're starting to be a little bit more conscious of what they're spending. Those have been the biggest differences I think that we've seen.
Yeah, and this doesn't really surprise me at all. One of the things we've been talking about regularly here on No Vacancy and some of the other stuff that we do is that everyone kind of let it all hang out over the last couple of years. In 21, it's just like I've got to get away. I got to get out of this house. And in 2022, it was more like a victory vacation lab for everyone. Right. Now, everybody's saying, wait, I can't spend that kind of money again, even regardless of what the overarching economic conditions seem to be in our country. Yeah. Anthony?
And if they don't take care of the debt ceiling in the next couple of days, no one will have money to travel anywhere.
Yeah. I think the biggest threat, other than the debt ceiling and what that brings in terms of just people's confidence, the Actors Guild strike starting to affect us a little bit in terms of business travel.
Is that happening? Is the Actors Guild strike happening, or is the Writers Guild?
The Writers Guild, sorry.
Yeah, but I heard the actors and directors may go on strike too.
Well, the directors may go on strike. I haven't heard anything about the actors, but it's not a great situation for Hollywood. I feel most sympathetic to all of the people that are the vendors there, the costume designers, the lighting people, all of those folks who are just getting over the most difficult portion of their lives.
but the writers, man, if they don't get some kind of language about AI, in a couple of years, AI will be writing all the scripts.
Yeah. You're absolutely right about that.
In fact, Anthony and I are actually coincidentally in Trinidad and Tobago, and these are our AIs doing the show.
That is true, and I'm actually Glenn, being Anthony.
Yeah. Even in an AI, I got to do all the hard work. It's crazy. Over here.
What am I cooking for dinner tonight? My kids are home. What am I cooking for dinner?
He is me. Yeah. I've been trying really hard to get them to make the choices with dinner, but that's a story for another day. Julian, we talked a little bit about where you think business is, but where are your employees' heads at? What is the best way to get those folks to respond? What's the best way to get them to stick it out and make it a career just like you have?
Yeah, it's probably a little bit more difficult in South California, specifically this area. It's because, as you know, LA is a big transplant city, and everybody comes here for a dream.
I was gonna say a lot of them are would-be actors, probably.
Sometimes what they're doing now is not what they want to be doing. So you really have to hone in on the talent. We have a great.
Julian, the good news is the failure rate for potential actors is so high that you have a big pool of people potentially to choose from.
Exactly.
All right, sorry. Please continue.
No, I was just going to say that we have a really, really great talent acquisition team at our corporate office that really helps us with attracting new talent. We work with a lot of colleges and universities around here that have hospitality programs that we try and pull from and bring into our CMT program and internship programs to get them excited about the industry.
You should partner with Hollywood agents. Maybe you could get some of their unemployed actors to do it, and then they could go and you guys could work on scheduling whenever they have, callbacks and stuff like that. So they won't have to call in sick. Just an idea.
You're on to something there.
Yeah, Anthony, I think you're.
Listen, anytime Glenn's giving Joe managed advice about running a hotel, it's time to end the show.
Sure. Listen, Wiser words have not been
Listen,
said.
my production team, right? We're working on a new show that we're going to start filming. And my production team was like, we're kind of like semi-hoteliers running around the country with Anthony for 10 years. We kind of can run a hotel. And it's like, that's the time for me to stop working with them.
Yeah. Exactly. The good news is, Julian, I don't think I could run a hotel for anything out there. What do you think is the biggest trend that you're focused on in the next year or so?
Oh man, I think we're really focusing on customer experiences, and it's changed so much over the last even 5 years. What the expectation is, there's a lot more touch points as it relates to people want to be able to check in without going anywhere. They want to use their mobile key. They want things ordered. We've been looking at experimenting with these robots that take things to your room, similar to what you see with some of the food services. So really focusing and honing in on what the customers want and giving them that experience. So we're doing a lot of that testing right now.
Now, that's what the customers say they want, but they also want human interaction and connectivity in that sort of way. At least I do. My greatest fear is with all of this customization that allows people to do what they want when they want, we're going to take the humanity out of it. How are you thinking about balancing that when your touch points are starting to go away?
I think that's a great question, but I think it's giving them that experience when they want it and not forcing it on them.
Yes.
And that's the way I look at it. There's never going to be a time when you don't want to have human interaction with a customer. But for the ones that don't want it, you want to give it to them when they're actually looking for it versus shoving it down their throats.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And like we talked about a lot on the show, the touch points are less, but they're more important than ever.
Correct.
So when you do speak with an employee, it's so like that one employee may that maybe the only person you talk to the entire time you're there, and that can change your opinion. Or I'll give you an example. I had to go to the post office, drop off all of my books that I just signed, and I decide not to go to my post office that's close to my house because the people in that post office just look at me every time I have all these books like I'm doing something wrong.
Right.
I went to another post office. The guy's not overly friendly, but he's really efficient, doesn't give me any crap. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go to that post office. And it's just like I just don't want stress. I don't want any friction between me and whatever I have to do. And whereas before I would deal with it, now it's like I don't want to fight. I will refuse the friction. So if you don't have that touch point, those few touch points that are perfect, people won't even complain anymore. They'll just go somewhere else.
Absolutely. They're walkers. They won't even say anything. They'll just walk away and go somewhere else.
Right.
Yeah, and you've got more competition than ever before and better competition than ever before because there's a lot of great, amazing hospitality professionals out there. Julian, before we let you go, one piece of advice that you want to give folks that would one day like to be doing what you're doing, albeit not at the Andaz West Hollywood, because you're there.
I always, whenever I get an opportunity to speak with to kids and colleges and hospitality programs, I always try to tell them that learn as much as you can and don't be in such a hurry to get to a certain point without understanding the journey and setting yourself up for success when you get there. Because if you don't know it by the time you get there and you're forcing your way and you're rushing your way through, you're going to run into situations and problems where you're not prepared to deal with the challenges that comes along with being a general manager, and really, really, truly understanding and taking the time to really immerse yourself and learn the business from all aspects.
Yeah, I wish I would have learned this quote a long time ago, but I've just learned it the last couple of years. Slow is fast.
Yeah, absolutely, Anthony. Couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah, awesome. Julian, thank you so much. We really appreciate you being here, my friend.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. And whenever you're back out here to LA, we'll take a dip in the pool.
Yeah, I love. Look at by the way, for those watching the video feed, that is the pool right there behind me. How beautiful is that?
What a view! And I'm offended that you didn't offer us a drink. All that alcohol behind you, and you didn't offer us a drink.
I'll ship it to you. How's that?
Forget that. I'm going for the Jordans that he's got on.
Thank you, Julian.
Thanks, Bill. Be well. That was fun. I love when we have a chance to talk to people that are really making a difference for people every single day on the property level.
Yeah, when are you going to make a difference?
Sometime around 2027. It's in the schedule. I'm building up to it. Working Working my way there.
Okay.
And listen, one thing that I should have done in order to get myself there quicker, and I know it would have helped, is if I'd gone to shop.anthonymelcury.com and gotten the book, Show Up for Yourself. That's right. Don't do it for anyone else. Do it for yourself. Shop.anthonymelcury.com, and it'll be autographed, right?
Let's turn to a page and let's read something. Ready?
Sure.
Hold on a second. Do we have a second?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, ready? Give me a page number. 174. Go ahead.
79.
79. So
This
79
page is left intentionally blank.
79 says, oh, very good page, because it's the takeaway page.
Oh, good.
From chapter 5.
I love it.
Authenticity is an important aspect of showing up, and it means being true to one's personality, character, and spirit.
Yeah.
Being authentic does not mean that one should not have filters and meet the conditions that surround them, which is a very important point. When you are deciding on career, being practical is only part of it. Your career choice must put a smile on your face and motivate your heart. And the quote is, I tried being someone else. It just wasn't as much fun as being me.
Yeah, that's a great quote, and really plays into that authenticity thing. I know for both of us in our journeys to find who we are, the more authentic we allowed ourselves to be, the more success we had, you know?
You know what? I just don't have the gene. Some people have the gene to show up and kind of really be someone just for the moment and for the situation. Mm-hmm. And that could work, I guess. I don't have the gene.
Yeah.
At all. It's never come into my body, or I run. Like if I have to start acting, I have to run.
Yeah, very good point. And listen, while Anthony's running, you know what he's running to do? He's running to download the audio podcast version of No Vacancy at Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, SoundCloud, wherever you get your shows. That is where you can get them. And if you happen to be listening to us right now, why not watch us? Watch us on YouTube, NoVacancyNews.com, Facebook, and LinkedIn. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, everybody.
You've got one life, so blaze on and
be kind to yourself.